Hello everyone, welcome to my presentation. I'm John Russell. This is my presentation for the Business Practicum 2020 at the University of Dallas. I did my practicum while at Nike Dallas at the North Park Center. So let's continue. A little bit about myself. I'm from Shreveport, Louisiana, which is about 3 hours away from Dallas. I learned about UD from Coach Jared Samples and Coach Matt Grahn over in the athletics department. They were recruiting me for basketball, and that's how I learned about UD. I chose UD for the education, location, and the opportunities that after I looked into the school and came on a visit. I thought the education was really good. Location of being in Dallas and having it presents a lot of different opportunities with jobs and having a UD degree. And then I also chose it for basketball, obviously. And then I'm giving this presentation because I am, in fact, a business major. So let's get into it and talk a little bit about my business practicum and time at Nike Dallas. A little bit of background on Nike is it is the largest seller of athletic and footwear and apparel in the world. Nike owns brands such as Nike, Jordan, Converse, and Hurley. And these brands are sold through retailers such as Foot Locker, Dick's, Champs, any retailer you can think of, Academy, that sells athletic apparel. Not only do they sell to these retailers, but Nike itself, to demonstrate its size, also has their own retail stores throughout the world. If you look down at the chart here at the bottom, there's a chart that says U.S. retail stores, and the total number is 384, and those are the retail stores for Nike just in the U.S. And then there's a non-U.S. retail stores, meaning internationally. They have 768 retail stores, operating in about 51 countries, I believe. And then if you look at the other chart up top, it gives a graph from 2015 to 2019 of their financials. And in 2019, Nike was able to make $39.1 billion in revenue, which is very large. So as you can see, they're a very large retailer and company that has a lot of influence on the world. At Nike, my job title was a Nike athlete, but in reality it's just a sales associate, it's a retail sales associate. And some of the duties that come with being a Nike athlete or retail sales associate, I basically had to help customers in store. If they asked for a shoe or a new size in something, I'd scan the product and then it would tell me where I can get it from in the stock room. So I'd go back there, find the correct size, correct color, whatever they need, bring it out to them, and I'd basically help them if they're looking for a certain shoe to match the shirt or just anything they really needed to help get them to purchase a product and basically help them get their wants and needs. I also worked in the stock and back of house room. Well, basically we would get shipments in of new products, and I would have to unbox them and place them in the correct shelves or bins, as we called them, so that when people out on the floor were helping customers, they would be able to find the correct product that the customer is looking for to be able to make that sell. And every once in a while, things would get a little bit unorganized back there, so when people put things in the wrong place, and so we basically have to reorganize the inventory sometimes. And then we also had to close the store down. Store usually closed around 10 p.m. to 11 p.m. At night. And basically what we do is we would clean our sections, which I usually worked in the basketball section as I have a basketball background, so I'd sell basketball apparel and things like that. And so we'd have to clean our sections, so we'd have to clean the mirrors in our section, keep handprints off of them, we'd have to clean dust and any debris that was just on the floor and dirt. And then we'd have to make sure all the presentation looked correct, so the shoes had to be presented a certain way out on the floor, the shirts had to be folded a certain way, or if they're hung up, they had to be, hung up a certain way, and everything had to have correct presentation. We had to make sure mannequins were dressed properly, and so that they looked good when customers would come in the store and see a mannequin with a certain outfit on. And then another responsibility I had as a Nike athlete was answering phones sometimes at the cash wrap. People would call asking questions, whether we would get a new shoe in stock, or we would have a certain size in a certain product, or if we even had a product at all. So basically I would just answer phone sometimes and help answer those questions. Developing my skills and applying my UD knowledge during my practicum was very important. If you look to the left there, I have communication, leadership, organization, customer service, and marketing written down. Obviously, we took a communications course during our time at the business school, and basically that just taught us how to communicate with people effectively, and not be vague in our communication, so people actually know what we mean to say. And I had to use that in customer service and when just talking to my fellow employees. And then leadership and organization, I took that class also as well with Jay Lee. He was a professor of that class, and he taught us how to be a leader in certain task roles and things like that. So when things needed to get done, you basically taught us how to be a leader and get that task done, and be able to communicate effectively with teammates to get that task done in an organized fashion. And then obviously I just kind of developed a skill. There's not a course on customer service, but UD definitely talks about customer service, and it's a big deal in the business world. But I just learned how to satisfy customers' wants and needs, and if they're upset with something, how to fix it and provide great customer service towards the customers. And then obviously we take marketing theory and practice with Laura Munez, and she's a great teacher. And but basically, I feel like you don't really think of a retail sales associate job as a marketing job, when in reality people buy a shoe and you think, oh, I can market this other product that would go really well with that shoe, so maybe they spend a little bit more money. And then even we got to market in the way that we got to dress mannequins and present them a certain way with the new style that's coming out. So we would get to dress the mannequins ourselves, and basically make people think I want those products that are on that mannequin. It looks really well or good. Ethical issues that I faced while working at Nike. The major ethical issue that Nike stresses during their training basically is shoplifting, and that can happen in two ways, which is internal and external. Internal shoplifting is when employees are stealing from the company, and that was actually larger than the external shoplifting. Nike stresses internal shoplifting a lot more, and how to deal with it by giving an anonymous tip to management or higher up. And basically, I never saw it personally or had to report anything, luckily, but it is a major on Nike's radar when it comes to ethics. I did witness external shoplifting, which is obviously just customers shoplifting in store. And basically what happened with that process was we reported it to management, we kept an eye on the people in store, and then we had to basically just report it to security or police. With the results of my business practicum, like I said, I learned customer service, how to talk to customers, and get them to what they get their wants and needs satisfied. And that goes into communication. I learned communicating with the customers, but not only just communicating with customers, I learned communication with your employees, and how to do it effectively so that you get the job done and whatever needs to be done. What I learned about myself is that I don't really like sales. It's not something I would want to stay in as a career path. And as you see, I say that retail is not a career. I really don't think so. I think it's a necessary industry to have, but it's like kind of a temporary job to make money for a little while before actually getting a real career. But making minimum wage for a company that makes billions of dollars is not really a career, in my view. So in conclusion, I learned valuable lessons during my practicum, and I was able to apply my UD knowledge that I have learned. And I actually got to experience some ethics, which is another course that we take here at UD. So if you have any questions, you can go ahead and direct them to me in the discussion thread.